Thanks, Cam. It means you're a lot older than me if you coached me way back when. My name is Scott Dane, and I want to give you a quick review of my trip to the World Cup this summer. My good friend Andrew Finney and I traveled to South Africa for a week in June to experience the world's greatest sporting event. And I hope that my pictures and my quick story can just give you a little insight as to how my trip of a lifetime made me a little more worldly. We're good. For the first time in history, the World Cup was hosted in Africa. Andrew and I departed from Detroit, and after 26 hours of travel with connections in Amsterdam and Nairobi, we arrived in Johannesburg. My luggage was lost, and we feared that perhaps the taxi cab driver that we had arranged had abandoned us. However, we felt this great sense of relief when Nelson Mandela welcomed us holding the beloved trophy. Our taxi cab driver was waiting and took us to our bed and breakfast. The next morning, we departed for our first game in the signature stadium, Soccer City. Because the stadium was built outside of Johannesburg, we had to travel to a local university park and ride where we boarded an hour-long commuter bus that dropped us an hour's walk from the stadium. It seemed like a lot of work to get to the first game, but it was all worth it when we entered Soccer City Stadium with 90,000 other passionate soccer fans. The highlight of the trip actually may have occurred on the second day, as we were fortunate enough to have tickets to the U.S. versus Slovenia match. The U.S. was heavily favored, but we found ourselves down 2-0 at halftime. The 30,000 American U.S. fans stayed loyal to the red, white, and blue and celebrated wildly as we tied the game at 2. We did score a late goal in that game, but it was inexplicably disallowed by the referee. The fans, however, all united in celebration for the come-from-behind result. The next few days included a trip to Rustenburg and a second visit to Soccer City Stadium. Our hosts in Johannesburg, Wendy and Alan, were extremely helpful with transportation and cultural acclimation. I'm confident that our trip was maximized because of their hospitality. The passion of the fans was evident in every stadium we visited. It was really evident with soccer-rich countries like Brazil and the Ivory Coast, who had teammates who actually played club soccer together, playing against each other in the game. The nonstop whirlwind trip continued with a quick flight to Cape Town for a 2-day trip. We arrived in Cape Town, stored our luggage, went straight to the game on a bus to see a rainy match between Portugal and North Korea. The rain did nothing to keep the fans away and only enhanced the excitement. Included in our trip to Cape Town was our only day without a match. So we headed down to the Victoria and Alfred waterfront and enjoyed the harbor. It had a very European feel to it, complete with coffee bistros and cafes. We concluded our trip and headed back to Johannesburg for our last match, which was Ghana versus Germany. Germany actually won the match 1-0, but because of the results in the other games, both teams advanced, so both teams celebrated on the field. It was kind of a weird thing to see both the victors and losers celebrating. One of the biggest controversies of the entire competition was the constant drone of the traditional vuvuzela horns. Everyone asked me when I got back how annoying the vuvuzelas were, and truth be told, I actually thought they were fantastic and a very important part of the culture. One of my biggest concerns in traveling to South Africa was staying with some families who had prearranged rooms with via an online service. However, Wendy and Alan in Johannesburg and Roshan and Darren in Cape Town were incredibly hospitable and welcoming. Their homes truly became our homes. The most awe-inspiring aspect of the World Cup is the passion that is exhibited by the fans. Whether it was the Ghanaian Black Stars or the Australian Socceroos, the passion was on display at every match we attended. Fans from varying backgrounds would unite to support their soccer heroes in pursuit of one of the greatest trophies in the world. It has to be noted that the U.S. soccer fans showed tons of passion as well. We were able to get people all across the country to come together in viewing parties to support the U.S. as they played Algeria, Slovenia, England, and Ghana. The fan support was never greater than the South Africans, who would gather at any place they could find a TV, whether it was in a mall, a restaurant, or a bar, and they would root on Bafana Bafana, the boys, clad in yellow and orange. ESPN and ABC broadcast all the games in the U.S. live. It was the biggest marketing event ever for ESPN. According to Nielsen, 112 million U.S. viewers watched 6 minutes of the World Cup. Perhaps being worldly actually means recognizing the differences between all the people of the world. The passion that was felt by the fans could be felt both on the field, outside the stadiums, and at viewing parties. Soccer is often referred to as the world's game because it is played across the globe. FIFA, the international body of soccer, ranks 203 countries in their world rankings. In addition to attaining the highest referee certification, referees must be multilingual to referee the World Cup. The World Cup helped me to realize that even being halfway across the world, I was still in the world and could help and could love and celebrate the game that helps define the world. And I think this was extremely important. I rooted for the U.S., I stayed with South Africans, I watched Argentina, Korea, Ghana, Germany, North Korea, Portugal, the Ivory Coast, and Brazil play, all in 7 days. I can confidently conclude that the world's game made me immensely more worldly and showed me that all people, regardless of background, can be united by a simple ball.